it's the proudest day and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all we said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Crunching Gears, the Rally Podcast. And delighted to be once again joined by Conor Edwards. Conor, welcome as always.
Kevin, thank you very much. Delighted as always to be here.
Yeah, that's for sure. Just before we go anywhere, forgot to mention when we were doing the first part of the Donnelly thing, episode 100 of Crunching Gears. Like, how did I ever in my wildest dreams ever imagine this? So this is episode 101, but Conor, I don't know what kind of monster we created, but like this Donnelly podcast has just took it to another level again, really, hasn't it?
But again, it's the stories, Kevin, as we say. Nobody tunes in to listen or to watch us. It's about our guests.
Yeah.
And again, you know, a rallying family that, you know, everybody in Ireland has pretty much heard the name of or knows the name of, you know.
Yeah, and like, you know, the stories and the crack and the banter, and like episode 2 will be coming out at the weekend there as well too, and that's if not better, it's every bit as good as the first part is all I can tell you at this point, you know. But episode 4, season 2, please like, share, rate, all those things, vitally important. But this weekend we're going to review is Rally Sweden, and then we're also going to look forward to a busy weekend ahead. We have Kirkstone on at the weekend, the first round of the Northern Ireland Championship, Killarney Forest, the first round of the Irish Forestry Championship. That will also take a wee look at the Micra Challenge as well. We speak to Jordan Hone, who's going to help us with the Irish Forestry and the Micra Challenge, and then we'll look ahead to Fivemiletown the following weekend. Oh, in the middle of all that then too, we have Adrian Hetherington and Ronan O'Neill speaking about the Riponian rally, the first round of the British Historic Championship. So jam-packed here. Conor, Sweden, unbelievable rally, and what a weekend for our wee country.
Oh, listen, fantastic weekend, absolutely incredible. What do you call it? What do you call it? We had Craig Breen leading the event, and obviously finishing second with what do you call it, James Fulton, and then to have William Creighton and Liam Regan, you know, coming in behind in the juniors and what do you call it, taking the win on the juniors. Just incredible weekend, genuine. It was fantastic to watch.
Yeah, and as well as that, Aaron Johnson and Takamoto setting a few fastest times, and you know, yes, they failed to finish, but the times were there. You know, that was, you know, it's really positive, because like all them other guys were in a real heavy battle, and Takamoto was setting really great times. Eamon Kelly, his first time, him and Conor's first time stepping up to the JWRC, a couple of top 3 times there as well, so that bodes well. But you know, this, you know, rallying in Ireland and the Irish rallying is just in such a healthy place, you know, and we keep saying it and we keep saying it, but it's true, you know, we can't get away from it. It's fantastic to see this.
A healthy place, and for a country that gets very little snow, we seem to produce some great drivers on the white stuff.
Yeah, that's for sure. But anyway, we'll get back to the Irish guys after we would. Oit Tanak, like, if he gets this Puma hooked up properly, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, isn't he?
He will. Well, look, we saw that last year. Like, you know, the second half of last year, he really took the Hyundai by the scruff of the neck and got that I-20. Some incredible results that it didn't deserve. And likewise, I mean, Malcolm Wilson himself was at the finishing ramp, was quick to admit that it was Tanak won the rally, not the Puma. Mm-hmm. So you're right. Once they get this hooked up, once they get it sorted, it's going to be, you know, a force to be reckoned with. And there's a bit more to do on the engine side for them to get improved performance there, because it's probably the slowest of the 3 Rally 1 cars at the moment.
Yeah, like a rally that probably would have been, would have favoured the guys with the ultimate power, you know, the ultimate top speed, and he came out and top. Fantastic, you know. Like it's great to see. Good to see M Sport back on top, and out Tannic. You know, he's just so cool, calm, collected, isn't he?
Yeah, look, a win all round, a win for M Sport, a win for Tannic, a win for the championship. It
Yeah.
creates a bit of life and fight and vigor around it. And, you know, Monte Carlo was a bit of a damp squib, mainly due to the weather. You know,
Yeah.
it was a dry event. There was no snow, no ice, pretty much, and everybody thought it was boring.
Yeah.
And then we got to Sweden, and what do you call it? I don't know if it could have gotten any more exciting. We had everything.
Yeah. You laughed at like Hyundai. They had a snow setup for Monte. Like they'd always been perfecting it for Sweden, because Toyota could have easily claimed the top four in Monte Carlo. They didn't even get a podium, and then in Sweden, unbelievable! Just the turnaround fortunes.
Absolutely, just you know, incredible the change from you know between events and back to back events as well. Just you know, and the teams had done a bit of testing beforehand. What do you call it? Toyota and Hyundai had entered a couple of you know rounds in a couple of local Sweden, yeah, national rounds in Sweden to get a bit of testing. That didn't go well for them. Both Takamoto failed to finish, Lappi failed to finish in the Hyundai. What do you call it? Tanak had done a round in Estonia in the snow. Obviously, that helped him get a bit more confidence in the car, and yeah, he was able to do amazing things. You know, had the issue with a tire delamination, which also affected Craig and EP, where they lost the studs basically off one of the tires. But it didn't seem to knock Tanak's confidence at all.
Yeah, and like you know, can't go any further. Craig Breen, like probably, if not, you know, has to be the star performance of the rally. You know, first time in that rally won Hyundai. We know his struggles he had last year, but he was a new man. He even, you know, he looked lighter. He looked happier. He looked healthier. It's hard to just put your finger on it, but he just a completely different character, and that story was told behind the wheel, right from the get-go, shakedown right through, banging in the times, phenomenal performance. Yes, he always goes well in Sweden, but it just was great to see the happy chappy back again.
Everything fell into place. There was nothing phased him. You know, they got the lead early on in the rally. Then they fell behind the hybrid issues, the tire issues, then the team orders. That didn't even phase them. You know, we've seen other, you know, drivers in the past where the toys out of the pram when team orders get imposed. Didn't bother them. And, you know, they set a cracking time on the power stage. And as it turned out, you know, the team orders fell apart, basically.
Yeah, and like yeah, you could maybe say that he had a favourable road position on the Friday, but like you know, everybody has had that at some point. You know, it's making it count, and he did that. EP as well. You know, Esapeka again. You know, after having such a dismal Monte to return again and set the times he was setting, fantastic. You know, then Neville, like it never seemed to click the whole weekend, and still come away with third place. That you know, like that's him. He's third in Monte as well. So 2 third places for a guy that's still not quite right with the car. That's worrying for everybody else. I think that.
It is, and again, also if you look at Neville, he had the flu beforehand, so he actually missed out in the day's testing. He had to rely on feedback from Lappi and from Breen with regard to how they set their cars up and how they find the test days for him to try and find some sort of settings. And then again, also the team were monitoring. I don't know if you saw that, but there was an interview with the new manager Cyril, and basically he was saying that compared to everybody else, the data was showing that Neville was overusing the handbrake. So they're trying to wean him off, you know. And that's one of the things about his style. He does use the handbrake a lot, and that seems to work with the way that car is set up and the light back end on that car. So I don't know if they just try and take that away from him or discourage him from using it. You know, is it like a golfer changing their swing? I don't know if it'll affect the style.
That's for sure. That is for sure.
And you mentioned about road position. I don't think that's fair.
No, I don't. No.
Because And I know you weren't, but I know some of the media was, kind of trying to use as an excuse to belittle the performance. But Loeb and Ogier come back on our part-time program, so they get great road positions now as well. So I don't think it's a fair thing for some of the media to throw that out as, oh well, that's why Breen's doing a good time.
It's not, he just whenever Craig is on in the zone, there's nothing like it, and that, it's a happy. It's just a completely different character. We've seen how down the dumps he got last week, and his impassioned talk at the end of the last stage. Don't ever let anybody put you in that dark place. And that just shows where he was last year. Great to see it back, and that's as much as we really can say in that at this point.
Yeah.
So, but then the Toyotas, I don't know. Evans looked a bit lost once again after strong showing in Monday. The world champion, hard to know. He showed flashes of brilliance on cracking speed, and maybe a wee bit of bad luck along the way too, didn't he?
Yeah, a little bit of bad luck, and then again on the Sunday, I don't know whether he was putting a good spin on it or what the story was, but it was kind of like he wasn't fussed and going for the PowerPoints. He kind of was looking at Mexico thinking, I don't want to be first on the road. Was he genuinely playing a game, or was that just something to throw out there, as I say, a bit of a spin? It's hard to tell.
Yeah, because if it was thinking of Mexico, it was it's fascinating bit. It was an insight into his brain that he can think like that in the heat of the battle. Do you really? Because there was. Third place was there for the taking, really, after the Hyundai team orders, and to still have that wherewithal to say, just calm yourself and settle and where probably the roving pair of old would have been, let's go for it and try and claim, get the maximum points in the power stage and claim the third place, so.
Yeah, I mean, you can imagine there was very little in it. Once the team orders kicked in, there was very little in the time between Craig and what do you call it, Cali Roving Power. So you kind of would have thought Roving Power would have had the bit between his teeth and gone for it.
Yeah.
But doesn't have appeared to have put everything into that run.
Yeah. So I think without further ado, I think we'll cut across over to you caught up with James Fulton and just the pure joy of that. No? So over to James.
James, firstly, congratulations. Second place, WRC Rally Sweden. It's only your second time to do a WRC event in a Rally 1 car. Has it sunk in? Does it seem real, or is it a dream?
Yeah, it's starting to sink in a bit now. It's been a hectic few days, but it's starting to look back and it's starting to sink in, and it's all starting to seem a bit real, but still quite mad all the same.
And what was the feeling like just before the start of the event? Obviously, Craig seemed more confident, a bit happier, having gone back to a Hyundai. The testing that you did seemed to be quite positive, and there was some good footage, online. Everything seemed to be flowing quite well. So, what was the mood before you hit the start ramp?
Yeah, it was the mood was good. We were confident for sure. We had a really good test, really good test, and it was actually, the test was just the week before, the end of the week before the rally, so it was all quite close, and it was everything was good, and we were definitely confident, and with a lot of preparation done behind the scenes for the last few months, myself and Craig, and we've been doing a lot of work, to be fair, and with notes and everything, and it's just putting ourselves in the best position we could, and we're definitely confident, but at the same time we weren't getting carried away or getting too much let's say overly confident, but it was everything was good.
End of stage 5, you were in the lead, you were 7.7 seconds ahead of Tanak. Was that a surprise to you guys, or kind of no, you felt that's where you should have been?
To be honest, no, it wasn't a surprise. Would have been probably a little bit annoyed if we weren't at that stage, because we knew Friday it was a road position, which was well documented that the road position was going to be held, so we knew we had to take advantage on Friday and to be in the mix, and we targeted some stages and we all had our homework done and stuff, so it was part of the plan, let's say.
And then got into Saturday, and again fighting with Tanak, and you started to inch ahead of him by the end of the morning loop. But then the afternoon loop, what do you call it? You had your issues with the hybrid. Kind of how badly did that affect things?
Yeah, Saturday we decided it was just going to be continuation of Friday's speed and everything. So yeah, it was always going fine. We knew everything wasn't going to be, every stage wasn't going to be perfect. So okay, we had our issues with the delamination and that. We could have lost more time with that, but like Tanik had his issues with the delamination too. So the third stage on Friday was a stage that ran last year, and it's quite a unique stage. It's a really committed stage. So Greg didn't actually do it last year because he had retired that stage. So we knew the other guys would have done it. But yeah, that stage, okay, we lost a bit of time in it. And then the last stage of the evening was the Umea stage, which was pretty much junction straight. So yeah, the hybrid definitely hampered us in there with on the straights with getting the power and stuff. But yeah, we managed the best we could. We didn't get too annoyed about it. What could we do? It was yeah, you're going to over a long weekend's rally and you're going to have issues.
And what you mentioned the delamination that happened in stage 13, but it's also affected EP. He had the same issue when he went off and got stuck. Was that a bit of a shock to come around the corner to see EP beached?
Yeah, he was actually on the last corner. So yeah, we had about, I think we had 4Ks. We had the delamination, so it was just about getting to the end of the stage without doing what happened. EP like going off, like keeping it on the road, you know. And so yeah, Craig done a good job to try keep the speed as high as possible without running the risk of going off the road. So yeah, we seen EP. We were actually slowed down quite a bit for it because we were waved down by people on the road. So yeah, I mean, we just had to get the wheel changed and stuff. So we kind of didn't really think about him too much, to be honest.
Would you have lost much time, slowing for Lappy being off, or really you were slowed anyway with the tire issue?
Yeah, we were slowed anyway, but as well as that, there was people waving us down, so it's on the onboard. But yeah, we slowed a bit more, but it was, yeah, you don't know when the people's waving you down, you know what, there's a car in the middle of the road or what way it is. So yeah, it probably would have been more of a effect if we hadn't delamination and we're coming in there a lot faster. It would have been, could have been more of an issue with time loss, etc.
And then Sunday, good start to the morning. Then we got to the power stage, and just before it, obviously, team orders kicked in to support Thierry. What do you call it? I suppose, what was the approach to the power stage? Was it steady and keep it safe, or was it to try and go for maximum points?
Yeah, we got the team orders, which was okay. That's the game we're in now with the part season and that. It's just part of it. But yeah, it left us with Robin Perry only 6 seconds behind us going into the power stage, and everyone knows what he can do in a power stage when he turns it on. So we had to go as fast as we can to maintain the podium, because it was critical for only that they needed the 2 cars in the podium. So yeah, we approached it. We weren't really thinking about power stage points, to be honest. It was just to drive as best we can, as fast as we can, to keep Robin Pereira behind, because I suppose that stage had been a bad stage for us all weekend. That was the 4th time that, well, okay, the parts of it were ran 4 times over the weekend, and we hadn't a great run on that stage all weekend. So yeah, we just wanted to be as clean as possible and fast, not make any mistakes, but be as fast as possible. So yes, it didn't work out as the team hoped, but
and when did you guys realize that things didn't quite go to plan?
On the finish, just at the finish line, when it came to the interviewer, I actually didn't know, because I had my helmet on and I knew we were okay. I knew we were safe. Robin Perez's time, because he had finished the stage before we started, so I knew we were okay, as in we kept him at bay, which was the main objective. But I didn't know Thierry had made a mistake, which was unfortunate. I suppose he hadn't made that mistake, then it would have worked out. But yeah, what could we do? We were asked. If one of those things, just the way the weekend went. But the team were okay. They were happy. They were happy. They got their double podium. So it was, yeah, everyone's in good spirits.
And obviously for yourself, fantastic to get second rather than third place.
Yeah, it's obviously second is better than third, but yeah, we know we have to play the team game now. That's what we're there for, and you just have to accept these things. So I probably had accepted, and all we were focused on was, to be honest, was keeping Robin Bear behind and going into the last one. So we were, second is great, yeah, but I'm happy with third. Yeah, second is brilliant. But then saying that though, there was, over the weekend after leading for so long, there's a part of me that's, what could have been. You're disappointed you didn't get the win also, but yes, it's one of those things.
I suppose it makes you hungrier for the win next time.
Yeah, for sure. It's you're just mad to get back at it again. Like, look forward to the next event and start working for it already.
And I know in Japan, and that Paul Nagel was helping and get you set up and sorted with the team and that. How long was it before Paul was on the phone?
I was actually on the phone to him throughout the weekend, message here and there, and we got back. We actually got back into the hospitality after we put the Cairn Park Firm, and after final stage, and we were Craig rang him then, so it was wasn't too long before. But Paul will be with us now, I'm sure, for the next few events helping out. He wasn't able to go to Sweden, so he's going to be a part of the team still.
And as we saw, it was a win for M Sport with Tanak taking the win. And obviously, a bit of a swap there where Tanak came from a Hyundai and you guys moved for M Sport. Mm-hmm. Did you get to chat to any of the M Sport team, Rich or anybody else? Did they come up to you?
Yeah, chatting to a good few of the mechanics and the engineer. Actually, Jamie gave me a text. I texted him. He's Jamie. Jamie. He's Tanak's engineer. He's a really good guy, and a good few of the mechanics actually met Rich as well. And congratulated them, and they congratulated us, and everyone. Yeah, it was good. And I actually seen them out that evening in Umea that evening in the restaurant. So they're all delighted. A lot of them guys and girls work really hard. So it's they've had it's been a while since they got a win, so it's good to see them smiling.
Grant. And then obviously moving to the next round, Mexico, you're not in the lineup, so will we see you and Craig out in Croatia?
Possibly, yeah. Hasn't been announced this round, but possibly Croatia. It's an event that Craig's done twice already. So but firstly we have FAF ERC, the first round of the Portuguese Championship now in 3 weeks, and we're focused on it now. It's the first round of our program in the Rally 2 car. So looking forward to it. It'll be with a sports new team. They're a bunch of really good guys and girls. So it's looking forward to that. And then we actually leave FAF on the Sunday evening to go to we fly to Mexico then to Recce. So we're doing the Recce Mexico. So we'll be there, and we'll take it one at a time. And it's once the Portuguese Championship starts as well, so it's going to be quite busy, and looking forward to it all.
And you're undertaking the full Portuguese Championship, is it, this year?
Yes, I think it's 8 rounds, but one of the rounds clashes with, I think, Finland, and if we're doing Finland, we'll be doing Finland. It'll take priority. The WRC program takes priority over the Portuguese Championship. So probably just be 7 rounds but still it's good, and looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, huge thanks to James for coming on, having a chat, and fantastic performance by James and Craig. And speaking of fantastic performances, I also caught up with Will and Liam.
Yeah, our JWRC winners from Sweden.
Absolutely.
Isn't that a lovely thing to be able to say?
So, William, Liam, congratulations. JWRC win. Sweden's been kind to you. Last year you had a 3rd place, and now this year you have a 1st place. Has it sunk in yet? Liam, I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I don't think it's sunk in yet, Connor. It's been a bit of a roller coaster there for the last 10 days, but you're right, like Sweden has been good to us. We had a great run there last year when finished 3rd, and John Armstrong won that won that round. So we enjoy driving on snow. And Johnny Greer texted me actually after the rally saying we're pretty much snow experts now. So I don't know if it'd go that far, but we've clocked up a few kilometres in this past sort of 12 months on the snow.
And William, obviously we spoke before Sweden, and you'd done the little bit of preparation. You know, you had the 1 day event, and do you think that really helped set you up? You know, to get the car set up and yourself set up for the snow.
Yeah, I think so. You know, when we started the rally in Lima, if you compare the driving from the first stage there to the last stage of the rally, you know, it's quite different, and it sets you up then going to the WRC event. And then on top of that, obviously you can try things with a car and then bring those setup changes into the M Sport car. So yeah, look, we found the snowbanks a couple of times in Lima. So I think that's yeah, it's better to find the limits there and then get set up before you go to the WRC event and not make the mistakes there.
Yeah. And Liam, you know, obviously hunting out the DVDs and the in-car cameras, did you have a lot of work to do before the event itself?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things now you can do to research these rallies before you get there. You know, there's all live, which everyone is using at the minute. So, yeah, we went over a lot of things, and there was some new stages though for Sweden WRC round this year. So there's only so much you can do on that. Okay, there's organisers' videos, but sometimes it doesn't give you a true reflection of the way the road will be and the snowbanks will be. So you just try and cover every angle and try and do as much homework as you can before you get there. I mean, we headed out a couple of Thursdays ago for Lima, and we had to do our preparation for that as well, because like that's the first round of the Swedish National Championship. It's 130k. It's a proper rally, like 2 30k stages. So between the event preparation for that and the WRC round up in Umeå, we had a lot to do. But in order to try and eke out a few seconds here and there, you know, that's the type of work you have to be doing.
And, you know, obviously going and doing the event in Lima, you know, it's about getting the practice and getting the experience and the seat time. But, you know, you want to be competitive as well. So how did you kind of get that balance, Liam? And you know, were you benchmarking yourselves, you know, against the locals?
We had a good run in Lima last year when we headed out, and Josh McLean done the rally as well last year. They put us into the national category, which had like Evo 9s, like Group A cars. So like you can gauge against them, but I suppose in the WRC they're gauging the Rally 3 cars off how many seconds per kilometre from Rally 2 times you are. So that's what we're kind of using for Rally Lima. But look, we had a difficult first stage. We caught the car in front of us who had a blown turbo. That kind of ruined our overall result a wee bit. Still managed to finish 10th, but really it was just to rack up the kilometres. And as William said there, you know, it was really to test our settings for the next weekend.
And William, Rally Sweden, you know, by the end of the Friday night, you were 30 seconds ahead in the JWRC. And I know on the Friday that they run the classic rally as well. So when you get to that second loop, how bad are the ruts? How cut up is the ice? You know, where you're running down the field.
Some of the stages are okay, and then some of the stages aren't great, and they get very cut up, and then they get down to the gravel, and as soon as the stud, you know, makes contact with the gravel, it just gets destroyed. So yeah, the tire doesn't last so long on that sort of surface, and the stages are that fast that whenever you start to get a bit understeer, you know, at 100 mile an hour or you know, top speed in fifth gear, it's not so nice. So yeah, you just have to be cautious, and I think we did quite well with our tire plan. We had Marcus there from DGM who helps us with that, and you definitely have to be smart. You know, it's very easy just to throw tires at the car at every service, and you could quickly run out of them, you know, towards the end of the rally. So you have to keep that in mind, and I think we did quite a good job of that in Sweden.
And that tire preservation, how do you balance that? Because obviously, you know, if you're in the deep of the ruts, you're pulling studs out with the gravel. So, but you can't really risk driving outside of the ruts. So how do you find that, you know, a safe way to preserve the tires, but also keep the speed up?
It's very difficult, to be honest. You can't come out of the rut. You have to stay in the rut. So I suppose it's maybe trying to be a little bit less aggressive when you're on acceleration or on the brakes. But to be honest, it's very difficult, and you know, everybody's tires sort of follow the same pattern, and it's be unusual for you to destroy them, a lot more than your competitor. So everybody is faced with the same problem, and I suppose if you can stay away from punctures or having any excessive tire wear, it's not the end of the world. And as I say, everybody's sort of in the same boat.
And then, Liam, Saturday afternoon, you went from a 40-second lead after stage 12 to find yourselves 19.7 seconds behind, having had the issue with the bonnet. Like, what was the mood or the feeling in the car when that happened?
Well, there wasn't much said for a while, to be honest. But look, I suppose we had to, these things happen. The bonnet came up. We lost, I can't remember what it was in that stage. And then, we went into the next stage we tried to fix the car up a bit and get into the next stage, but we spun in the next stage as well. But the FIA regulations state that whenever the screen's cracked, you have to wear the goggles. And that's not the most comfortable position to be in. So I think William he was fighting with his goggles on one of the stages, and mine were steaming up a bit. So, we knew that we'd drop the time, but it's how you bounce back after that and how you deal with it. So we didn't jump up and down. We didn't get overly excited. We just knew that we had to knuckle down then. On Saturday evening, as you said, we were 19 down. So as William mentioned there, if it wasn't really for that tyre strategy that Marcus worked out with us, we really would have struggled. If we had fired all the tyres at it by then, Sunday would have looked differently. And the Sunday stages were a wee bit longer than a normal Sunday in WRC. So I suppose you could say we're fortunate that way. But no, we were focused, and we went back to the house on Saturday night and, went over our recce footage, went over our notes. And we just really focused down on the job we had to do the next day.
And William, you Saturday night, you are where you are. You're down in time. There's only 3 stages. Liam said they're slightly longer than the normal, but it's still only 3 stages, and there's always that risk one could be blocked or cancelled or something. So, were you optimistic it was possible to do it, or where was the head at?
We were definitely going with the intention to try and get the time back, but I think both of us were sort of quietly thinking that it wasn't possible, that there just wasn't enough kilometers left. But as I say, that didn't change our mindset that we were going with. We were definitely going to try and take as much time back as we could. As Liam says, I suppose the mood wasn't fantastic on Saturday evening after a lot of hard work to try and get the gap. But yeah, we did everything that we normally do. We had a good look over the notes, and the stage on Sunday morning was, as Liam says, quite fortunate that I think it was 25 or 26 kilometers. It didn't get very rutted. The surface was good. It was an enjoyable stage. I said to Liam that I think we both would have rather have went in and done a third pass of it than go into the power stage, just with the conditions there. So in a way, it all clicked for us. We got into a good rhythm. It wasn't, we didn't want to put the car off either and then lose second place, because that would have been, even more frustrating. So it all clicked. We had a good run. I don't think we were expected to take that much time back, so it meant then the race was on for the next stage. And I suppose I thought that maybe Lauren was maybe just a little bit too cautious, and that after he had a recce over the stage, he was going to be able to go a lot quicker. And I didn't think we would get the 8 seconds then back on the second pass, but we had another clean run and we managed to do it. So it set the power stage up then for an interesting finish.
And Liam, the power stage, parts of it have been used, quite a bit throughout the weekend. Like, what condition was the stage actually in?
Yeah, so the power stage was 10 kilometers long, and the last 5K had been used twice before. So, from 5K on, it was quite rutted. We had used that other first 5K the night before as well, but the last section, which you saw on the TV, that was quite bad. But I suppose we actually had a good time on the last split. We knew we were quite strong. We knew our weakness would be on the first part of the stage, so we tried to minimise that. Didn't really go that well, because I think the first corner we overran a wee bit, so we're sort of on the back foot from the first corner onwards. But people were texting saying the times on Sunday must have been crazy and all this, but it wasn't really. Like, it was definitely fast, but it wasn't out of control. It was in a good rhythm, as William said. So going into the power stage, we knew we didn't need to get carried away. We just needed to do a good job, and thankfully we were able just to hold on at the last.
And William, I suppose, how long after crossing the finish line did you realise, you'd won, and by a tiny margin, it was 0.6 of a second?
It's actually a good question, that. We crossed the finish line and there was a little bit of confusion. When we rolled up to the stop line, Lauren and his co-driver were celebrating that obviously they had thought they had won. So yeah, it wasn't obviously nice for them, and obviously we thought we were second. So there was a little bit of confusion, but then quickly after the stop line, when we got round to the holding area, we saw the times, and Liam started to get a phone call, I think, from my dad, and then we realised that we had got it. So yeah, it's not every day in rallying that you have a good day. There's lots of bad days. So we're just delighted that we were able to get the win, and we got a couple of podiums last year that even those are so difficult to come by in the JWRC. So to get a win and then to get it after the setback that we had, it just made it all the sweeter. So as I say, it'll not always be as sweet as that, but I'm delighted that we were able to come back and enjoy it while we can.
And look, obviously there's a lot of work goes on behind the scenes, and getting you to each event, etc. So it must have been fantastic for your sponsors and for MI Academy as well, with the result that you got from Sweden.
Definitely, we've been in the championship now. This is the third year, and the academy have been with us from the start. So we're always working with them, and Alan Heary, the mental strength definitely come into play in the last 24 hours of the rally. But as I say, all the guys in that championship are doing the same thing. They're all doing the notes the night before, and they're all working on their fitness and everything. So it's, everybody's looking for a way to improve, and they're all at that level. So, we're under no illusion that now for the next few rounds, they're only going to get better, and we need to just try and stay at the top of our game to hold them off.
And Liam, next round of the JWRC is Croatia. So what is there, I suppose, what's the preparation in advance of that? And is any plans to get a bit of more seat time before that event?
Yeah, that would be the plan, Connor. I mean, we were talking about that on the flight on the way home, and I mean, it would be nice to do some rallies in Ireland in preparation for Croatia. We sort of miss rallies in Ireland. We haven't been rallying at home so much, so there's one or two big ones coming up in Ireland, so we're maybe going to try and get to that, but not finalised yet, but would like to. Croatia is a very specific tarmac. It's not like any other tarmac really. A wee bit representative from Ireland in that there's a lot of mud dragged out, but the surface is actually quite slippy even in the dry. We've been there twice before and sort of know the profile of the stages, but last year we had a bit of we clipped a wheel off early on in Croatia last year in the fog. But we'll do the same again. We'll look at our notes from last year. We'll look at the footage and just try and put ourselves in the best position as possible.
So, look, obviously, you're away from home quite a bit at the rallies, and you're the likes of Sweden, etc. But we're all following the rally from home here, and we're watching WRC live, and we're on Twitter and Dirtfish and all the other sources. What's it like? Are you aware of the support you have when you're away from home?
Yeah, definitely. Although I think on the last few stages I was trying to only look at my phone for the information that I need to have to try and stay focused. But there's without a doubt that you're getting messages from people that you're not even usually talking to, and you see all the content online that it's 100%. It gives you a bit of a boost, and you want to do it to bring it back home and keep everybody happy. But the support that you get, text messages and comments on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, it's I never thought that there was that many people watching until you see all the messages after the rally, and it definitely took me quite a while to try and get back to everyone to thank them.
Yeah, and Liam, I'm sure when the mood was a bit low on Saturday evening, the support from home helped.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a few people that I was texting on Saturday evening, when they were very supportive. Alistair Fisher was texting because, basically he's been in that position before as well when he was in the JWRC. So the support you get from home really means something. Like whenever you're away for so long, and sometimes you need that bit of a lift, like we got on Saturday. So yeah, like the Greer family are always very supportive, and they're always giving us advice, and as we mentioned Marcus earlier. So to have all that support and to have such a good weekend for Irish Rally, and like for Craig to have his result, and what a way for Fuzzy to get his first podium, and it was just really good, really feel good factor there on Sunday evening, and it makes you proud to be doing what you're doing.
Yeah, fantastic story from Will and Liam, and oh my goodness, it so could have gone the opposite direction, but for them to pull back and win by 0.6 of a second, it's just incredible.
Absolutely. And lovely to hear there Liam saying about the likes of Alistair Fisher and Johnny Greer and then guys texting them and offering them encouragement. We keep forgetting just how small a community it is and how big and how everybody pulls together. And things like that obviously help to lift them on the Saturday evening. Also at the weekend we had the Napoleon Rally in the UK, and Adrian Hetherington and Ronan O'Neill took a fantastic third place in the British Historic Championship, the first round of it. So I caught up with them two guys, and I started off by asking Adrian, had you a good event at the weekend?
Probably one of our best days, Ronnie, in fairness. It was a perfect weekend, weather-wise and everything else. Things went well. We're a wee bit apprehensive because last year, over in that particular rally, was a bit of a disaster. It was kind of first round of the championship, and it was probably our last round of the championship as well, the way it went for us,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I suppose it's one of them kind of things. You can't win a championship in the first round, but you can lose it if you get a bad result, and it sets the sort of the tone for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's took me a long time to learn that, but I think I finally learned it.
And Ronan, from your point of view, like classic stages, classic rally, I'd say you're delighted with the result.
I know it was pretty good, to be fair. We had obviously done them stages last year, and they used that same territory in the track road.
Mm-hmm.
We had a good run there, 2019, I think it was. But that's one of the good things about the historic series with most of the rounds. There's even when you go into Wales, there's a lot of them using like famous rally GB stages, like Gartheniog and Dyfy, and everybody's always heard of them stages, So it's really nice to be able to say you've been over them a few times,
Yeah, I growing up, you remember the RAC rally used to be on every night, and to hear the names of those stages, it just brings back so many memories. You're thinking of Kenton and Toiven and Vatten, and all those guys drove down them stages. Like Adrian, I know you're like a BDA fan. Like to go down them stages in that car must be pretty iconic.
Aye, that Gale rig and Crompton are two of the best stages I've ever been on. They really suit my style of driving. They're very fast and flowing, and probably not just as technical as the last stage that Gale was. Gale was, whatever it's called. It's a wee bit. The third stage of the loop was a wee bit more technical. And our first run through it, we weren't that good in it, but thankfully the last time through it were reasonably good.
And the competitive nature of that historic championship. Like it's the two guys in the car that can make such a difference, because the cars are pretty much all built to the same, they're built to the same specification, but they are very similar in terms of performance and all. There's no major differences in the cars there.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that to somebody this morning I was speaking to. You're standing at the start line, and there's nobody out adjusting suspension or worrying about tires. Everybody's driving the same thing more or less. In your particular category, so it's very evenly matched. It's all down to the driver and the navigator on the day, like how you perform.
That's for sure. And Ronan, from your point of view, it's almost like the old one-make championships of old, and to get that extra performance, you just have to do quite a wee bit of work before you get to the rally. It's not just rocking up and jumping in the car and going. There's a lot of work involved.
No, that's true. Yeah, and I suppose we're lucky in the sense that we live fairly close. So we can, go get looking at the DVD a few times during the week or whatever the case may be. Like you're just working with a set of notes and a DVD and away you go, and that's it. But one of the things that I've really liked is that everything's a wee bit more relaxed. We can get the book done on a Friday morning, nip over there, scrutiny on a Friday afternoon. Saturday morning, there's no driver's briefings, there's no park fermies. You get a start time, away you go, and you can have 40-50 miles done at 3-4 o'clock in the evening. It's really, really friendly from a competitor point of view that way.
Mm-hmm. And Adrian, for you, like the BDA this year, it's is it a new car with the we see it's red now, it was white up until late last year. Is that a new build, or is it the old car refreshed?
No, that's the old car. It's just we thought we'd maybe try and change our look a wee bit, change the colour of things. So so far so good, it has worked for us. But Still 5 mile time to come here.
Yeah, the local one, you know, it's a funny rally. Everybody wants to do it, but it's one of them funny rallies like yourself and even Shane McGurr always say you don't have great luck in it, but you have great battles in it.
Aye, it usually goes. You know, the first couple. It's like I suppose like every other rally nowadays. The first stage is completely decisive. Like if you get a couple of good stage times under your belt and get your tail up, whoever does that's very hard to chase down after that. You know. So it is a sprint. It's not a very long rally. I think it's only 13 mile or 13 and a half mile to loop. So you're talking only 26 mile, which is half of what we did on Sunday, but it's a lot more intense. As Ronan says, it won't be as laid back now.
No, and like Jenkin is like one of those stages. I talked to Tommy Nugent the other day, and he was saying it's one of those stages that there's time to be lost in it, and there's also time to be gained in it. They can change the loop about a wee bit, so it's not just driving the same stage all the time every year.
Yeah, no, so I think it's back by the opposite way from last year now this year. Which I would prefer probably, but no, there's so many places where you can get time. There's 2 or 3 particular sections that are very open and very, you know, if you let go at it, you can make a bit of time on it. Then there's an awful lot of technical stuff in it as well, where you can lose a lot of time by overdriving and getting out off the line. You know, so it is a place that you can win and lose. Jenkins probably is the stage where you'll win and lose the rally.
And like you know, you have the Class 14 car, you have the historic car. Is there a preference, or are you happy to jump in and out either at this stage?
Well, I suppose we're comfortable in the historic car now after last week. So our plan was to take the 2.5 car to 5 mile time, but then when we got into the BDA last week, it just came back to us right away, and we were uncomfortable from the very start. You know, and so when we were heading out to the last stage, we thought we had a conversation about that, and it was always going to be the BDA. Hopefully.
And on the list, is there massive difference in, you know, like at the end of the stage, would there be places that would suit the BDA and places that suit the 2.5?
Well, Jenkins, there is places on Jenkins that will suit the BDA, or sorry, suit the 2.5 car. But then again, there's places on Jenkins that will suit the BDA probably better than the 2.5 car, you know, so the 1 and half a dozen of an hour, we'll see.
Tell us
probably every bit of the stage suits Shane McGurr's car.
You're getting excuses on there. And like Ronan, from your point of view, is there any particular car, you know, there's probably nothing beats the absolute raw power of the 2.5, but there's something about a BDA, it's the noise, it's, you know, the history of the car. Is there any particular any preference you have?
No, not really, to be honest, no. Equally as good. Probably, listen, you're always going to be blinded a wee bit when you've had a real good run. You're going to think, oh, that's the best ever. But no, I wouldn't say a reference. But no, listen, I suppose this last couple of years we've done most of the rally in a historic car, rather than the modified car. So it's probably, if I had to pick one now, I probably would say it, yeah.
And then, you know, that was the first round of the championship. Good points in the scoreboard. You know, where does the championship take you this year?
So next round after this is Rally North Wales, at the end of March, which again is a really, really good event. It's some of them famous Rally GB stages I mentioned earlier. After that's the Plains Rally, another one based in Wales. The next round after that is Ebant, which is a tarmac rally, but it's based in the military ranges in Wales as well. It's a very, very specialised event. It's one of them places you'd have to be going maybe 10 times before you get a handle of it. And it finishes up with the Woodpacker is the third last round, and then Track Rod and Carlisle is complete. So seven rounds, your best 5 scores to count.
And like Adrian, you know, you're saying before we hit the record button there that, you know, you've discovered now that you need to finish these rallies to get the points on the board. Will that be in the back of your head? It's not going to be balls to the wall. It's, you know, drive for a finish, but drive fast enough obviously to get good points.
Well, I suppose on Sunday I seen that too, where I had that attitude. I'm contradicting myself a bit here, but I had that attitude on Sunday at the start, and look what happens on the first 2 or 3 stages. You know, they did take a bit of time out of us, although we were getting bedded back in again, I suppose, and we were rusty, but they were too as well, in fairness to them. But you know, Chilman and Elliott and all those guys, you can't afford to give them. You really can't afford to give them a head start on you, or they're gone. They're like the boys here. Then that historic championship's very, very competitive, and they're all good. Everybody's a good. The top 20 cars. Everybody's a good driver, like, you know. Mm-hmm. Everybody, and we've all got equal machinery as well too.
Yeah.
So you really can't give them a head start, like.
Mm-hmm. And
still, my attitude is to bet in a wee bit and try and do a wee bit better in the championship. Well, I've rallied for a long time and I haven't any trophies like that myself.
And we keep hearing about the Irish Tarmac Championship, the historic guys. You know, the banter or the crack that goes on between them. You know, at the stage ends and the stage starts and one thing and another. And the amount of, the English and Welsh guys come over here to do the championship, and they love the friendly, approach here. And then you just go over there. I just welcomed over there, and is it the same kind of relaxed vibe there as well? It's not all about looking at the DVD. It's not all about tenths of a second here. There is a bit of crack between the stages as well.
Oh, there is for sure. Hey, they're all really good lads that we're racing against, and have done now for a number of years. And I suppose you could say someone's good enough friends. So no, if that is, I can't say. I know we haven't done many tarmac rallies. And that historic car, I can't see the attraction of it. It sort of has its own wee sort of click, you could say.
Yeah. And Adrian, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the tarmac here should get a wee, the tarmac historic rally here should get a wee bit more attention, even running first on the road or something like that. Mm-hmm. I think running at the back, it's not getting the spectators that it should be getting, because it's a good spectacle. It's probably everybody's a wee bit more flamboyant and throwing it about a wee bit more than the Albies. The lads up in the 2.5 class here on tarmac, everything's so precise and down to the last measurement. If you spin a wheel in the wrong place, you're a second out, and it's knocking you out. The historic thing's a wee bit. I'm not saying it's less competitive, but I'm just saying there's a wee bit more room to let yourself flow a wee bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was chatting to Ronan yesterday, and we talked about it. That class 14 and class 13 as well. If somebody, finds a new development or something, and everybody has to get that new development. And it keeps driving the cost up and up and up. With the historics, this is it. That can't get any better. And it leaves it a very level playing field for everybody.
It is, yeah. No, there's no doubt about that. The modified rallying at home on tarmac, as you say yourself, if you have an click on the suspension, or you have some way of keeping the car from rolling a bit more, everybody has it. Everybody has it, or has to get it. They feel they have to get it to be competitive, and they probably do have to. But there, you just line up on the start line, and everybody's driving more or less the same car. There's really no difference, other than maybe it's a Sherwood or a John Dale. Mm-hmm. Somebody's on a 4-speed gearbox, and somebody might be on a 5-speed gearbox. But we're all on Bilsteins, and we're all non-adjustable suspension somewhere or another, mm-hmm. And it's a very level playing field.
Yeah, and this is going back a few years now. I spoke to you the last time you done the RAC rally, just before you done it, and I says, when did the prep begin for this year? And you said 2 years ago, sitting at the side of the road, was it stage 3? Is this in the back of your head already? The RAC coming up at the end of this year?
Well, I suppose that year we didn't finish the rally. Last year with a great result. Mm-hmm. If we get back to the result that we had the last time in the RAC, well, it'll be something else for us, Yeah. But we are thinking of it. But I think I think Ronan will verify too. The championship's the main thing in our heads here at the moment. Mm-hmm. We're going to give it a dig.
Yeah, I think Ronan, the British Historic Championship, every year it's getting better and better supported and all that. It must be pretty cool to be, have your name up there alongside, the Elliots and McCormicks of this world, and be battling and see that, be comparing stage times at the end.
Yeah. No, to be fair, there's a great team, Colin and Nicola Happenstall. They run a great show. They organise RAC rally as well. I don't actually know how they have the time to do everything they do. But fair play to them. But it's a very good championship. They keep everybody up to date. The email regular newsletters. Everybody gets a wee shout, no matter what car you're in or what category. Class winners from every event and everything. So media coverage and everything's very, very good. But no, as you're saying, great to be going racing boys like Marty and even I'm sure like Paul Barrett and Jason Pritchard and O'Shane Price and all these guys. And I'm sure with RAC coming up, you will see sporadic appearances from some of them this year doing different events. because everybody would want to go to the RAC and get as much seat time and as much miles as possible.
Yeah, because the RAC is becoming one of those events that it's almost on people's bucket list to do. There's like the likes of Ocean Price who haven't done an awful lot of historic rally and wants to be involved in, and there's other names, and it seems to be getting bigger every time it runs.
Yeah, it is. Oh, it's a fantastic event. We can't. It's we sort of, when you sit back and look at it, you're sitting. Especially they released the outline route last week, and I think this year's going to be the toughest by far. But it's nice to get your teeth into it. And I think, to be honest with me, from last year, you appreciate it more in the months afterwards. I think you'd probably be concentrating that hard before and during the event, and it's only afterwards you realise that, when you sit back, keepers up, that was a good achievement. We done well there. So no, it's one of them ones, you say, it's one for the bucket list.
That's for sure. And like Adrian, I know last year, or the last time it run, Gary Nolan, co-driver for you, but your biggest fan as well. Gary and myself were in constant contact over that last 2 or 3 stages. He was almost the third passenger in that car. Gary has been, he's stuck by you through thick and thin, and he was as delighted as anybody to see you guys getting that result the last time out.
I would say Gary. I would say that was very sore in Gary's heart. and we have a new fan with Gary's son Liam as well. Yeah. He's become involved in the thing too, and he's worse than Gary. If there's such a thing as being worse than Gary. No, I think it was nerve-wracking for a lot of people that were watching it, probably. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, we didn't get to watch it. We had the easy bit. We got to do it. So.
Yeah. And you can flip between the historic car and the Class 14 car. Will you concentrate in the historic this year, or could you see yourself maybe doing a few events in the Class 14 car again?
I probably will. The Easter stages is not running very far away from us here, so we might go out for a spin on that, But being competitive in it is a different story. The base are, you need to be in the seat all the time. Keeping up, but we'll go out for a spin. You don't want to have that in the seat and not be able to use it someday.
And I keep talking to the guys about the Class 14 car. It doesn't matter how often you're out in it. That first time you fire up the engine and the first time you give it the boot, you still get that thrill. There's very few other cars you get that kick out of.
Aye, now they are some piece of kit, and they do everything. They do everything you ask, and stop when you want them to stop, and accelerate when they want to accelerate, and go around corners a lot faster than everything else. They're a great car and a very safe car, and they're fantastic to get out. And the only thing is that you just need it to get the time, to put in the times against all the top men. You have to be out all the time,
yeah.
which is a big commitment too.
It is, and it's being out all the time. It's getting the time from work. It's it's everything that it's the time for the recce's. It's not again just rocking up and starting a rally. There's the prep. There's everything that goes on involved in it as well, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we're spoiled, I suppose, with a historic championship, as Ronan says there. We leave home, it's either on a Friday evening or a Friday morning, and we're either back on Saturday or Sunday morning or Saturday night in our own bed sleeping. So. Mm-hmm. It's hard to beat that too, and see, it is easy, and it does make the thing easier as well,
Yeah, and I suppose that is the difference, that championship, as Ronan said there, run by the Colin and them guys. They know what competitors want, and they tweak and turn things around to work for the likes of you guys. They know you have a boat to catch. They know that you're coming over, and it's great that you're being made so welcome.
It's very, very, very competitor friendly, very well run. I have to say.
Excellent. Well,
but the RAC runs on the same basis as the RAC is just like the whole year packed into one, more or less.
Yeah, and looking at it on the map, you think it's not possible. You start in, I think it's Scotland next year, and you're going away down to Wales. On paper, it looks completely bonkers, and maybe when you're doing it, it's completely bonkers as well. But it is. I don't know. There's something very special about it that goes beyond even rallying. It seems to have dragged in people who have been away from rallying for years. They still get dragged into that RAC magic.
This year in particular, I think it's going to be better in the fact that it's starting on the Thursday morning. Previous years, you've always started in the dark, Thursday night, and it came a wee bit daunting. Just first go out in the dark. I think a wee bit of time just to get settled in on the first day. I don't think there's going to be any dark to maybe Friday or Saturday. And it'll just be a wee bit easier to get going. But even, you know, right down to the last day, the Monday, which you'd imagine would be winding up, like there's 80 stage miles on the Monday. On the last day, like that's 4 or 5 mile rounds. You know, those stats.
Yeah.
It's not. There's going to be a sting in the tail probably where you imagine the last day of each any event is sort of winding down. You know, the race is done, but I don't think that's going to be the case this year.
Yeah. And like Adrian, from your point of view, do you have to work on your fitness and all that coming up to the RAC, or you know, is there a different preparation goes into that? Yes, the car is completely probably stripped and rebuilt, and everyone's as new in it. But is there a different Adrian Hetherington goes to the RAC rally compared to an ordinary rally?
Just the normal, extremely fit Adrian. But I suppose you need to get as much sleep as you can before it anyhow, because you don't get an awful lot of sleep when you're there. You're up in the mornings early, and you do need to have a wee quick check of your DVD, which usually would take an hour, and you might have to be over in service for 7 o'clock. So
yes,
by the time we get up and get that done, you're up every morning at the guts of 5 o'clock or 4:30, and you're rallying most evenings. I know the first couple of days there's not that much nighttime rallying, but the next three, the next two, sorry, in between two, you're not going to be back in bed till 12 o'clock after every night, you know.
Yes.
So it's very important. It's very important probably to get as much sleep as you can and eat as well as you can too, because the times that you're eating at, you know, there's a lot of things that, you know, in a rally like that you don't never think about in single day rally, and you do need to eat properly and keep yourself hydrated and get plenty of sleep as well. Get as much sleep before the rally as possible, you know, with everything else that's going on.
So thanks to Adrian and Ronan there, just great crack them two guys. We'll keep an eye on them now as the season progresses over there in that British Historic Championship, and you know, the RAC rally, you know, that's for those historic guys, that's their only goal, I suppose, you know. I also got the opportunity to catch up with Graham Henderson ahead of the first round of the Northern Ireland Championship. Graham won the co-drivers championship last year, so I thought it'd be, you know, as champion, it would be nice to get his thoughts on, you know, last year and then the year ahead. And then Graham also kindly picked out some of the highlights of his career to date.
We certainly did, Kevin. That was something I didn't expect at the start of the year, to say, you know, to expect to be sitting with such a top-class driver and the range of cars he had. And it just started off really well with a second overall in Kirkeston, and just progressed from there. It was just a steady run all year and good results, and we kept everything together just to do the championship, like, and it worked out then for me anyway. I know Derek finished second, and we'd like to congratulate Johnny on winning the championship, like, so it was just nice for me personally to come out with the overall title.
Yeah, because, like, you know, the Northern Ireland Championship, like, it's went through a bad time, but things are, you know, there's green shoots of, you know, things are starting to blossom again now, and it's great to see, you know, the rounds are being well supported. You know, there's now a tarmac and a gravel championship. Some people say it's a great thing, some people don't. You know, that's for another day. But the tarmac championship, there's a few rounds on the roads. There's the track events. There's something there for everybody.
There is, certainly is. Including, I think there's another tarmac road event this year. I know it was the Maiden Cities last year, so it kind of rotates itself. So which is always in the mix of things. So it's not only track and circuit based, although there's the first two rounds, the normal rounds. And then I think the third round's the Maiden City down in Shackleton. And so I think there's 5 events. And so the last 2, I think, are road-based. And it certainly is great to see as you say, the shoots. Hopefully, you know, a lot of competitors like to come in, although not everybody registered. So there's always a good class of competitor comes and supports the events.
Yeah, and when people do tend to register for the championship, they tend to stick at it as well. Some other championships, they come and they go, but the Northern Ireland Championship, the crews do tend to stick with it. Maybe because it is only the 5 rounds, and maybe that suits people's budgets and things as well.
It does. That's a good way of putting it. Because when the forestry events were included on it as well, you know, you could say 7 events. You know, it's tight enough going sometimes. You know, to get the budget together to run them. To run the car, but no, it's definitely it's good. You know, it suits me where you're not running. I know you're back usually on the same night and you can go in the morning travel. So you know, which suits my style of rallying, my age.
And we have Krunching to start with, Bishop's Court, then the Maiden City, as you said, and then the two road events. And like the road events is it's great to see, because
It is.
it's so long that it had been sort of like always went to the south for your road events, and either that or it was the circuit or the Ulster. But the road events in the north, they stand up to as good as anywhere else.
Certainly, without a doubt, there are events that we run as a closed road in the north. Any of the clubs that run all the events are so well organised and great. Usually put on a real test for everyone. Just as a wee side, but like I know my own club that I'm involved with in Derry, the Maiden City, there's that was around the championship last year, and just talking about road events, and it was just nice to even be doing involved in that, when you can actually start in one of the stages and look across and say, that's where I lived. You can nearly see your house from where. It's just so nice. But all the road events, it's just we'd like to see a bit more. And unfortunately, with the motorbike boys having their own problems with insurance, which of course the car men had as well a few years ago, maybe we may get another road closing order.
Because it's always what they say: another one blows nobody any good, So
that's correct. Yes.
And like, it would remiss of us to mention. You mentioned Derek there, and like the variety of machine Derek had last year. I think it's fair to say you've been at this co-driving learnt for a few years now. You've had you've had some great times. Is there 4 or 5 highlights that you look back and think, class, I was there, kind of thing?
Well, this is my 40th year continuously, apart from the COVID one, so it's a bit of a milestone for me. Of course, I've had some really good events and some not so, as we all do. But I suppose this year we've won, as I say, we with Derek, we won the event over in Scotland, and it started off with that second overall. So that's just one. But 2019 was a big year for me. Was sitting with Stanley Orr. We won the British Historic, the Cat 2 Championship as British champion. So that was a big year, and a lot of fantastic events in that. And to win the Ulster with Stanley was, it couldn't get any better. I know Stanley had said to me, and that it never, the Ulster had never been kind to him, but we've always had great results anytime we've sat together in the car,
and Stanley is one of the true gentlemen of rallying as well too, So.
Absolutely, and we hope he gets back out very shortly again. I know he'd done a couple of events last year, including Killarney, so we're just wishing he can get out and get back, a bit more seat time again, and give the rest of these historic men a bit of a run.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he certainly is on tarmac. That's the benchmark.
Yes, and on gravel too. Like, he has the speed wherever he goes. It's not just
absolutely.
That's the great thing with Stanley. He can go anywhere, within Ireland or the UK, and be on the pace. And it's not everybody can do that either.
No. I know the Mark exactly. That's 100%. I know the Mark 1 and Mark 2. There's a wee bit of difference, but it's the man behind the steering wheel.
That's for sure.
That's it. No, I was fortunate enough to be asked to sit, as I say, with Stanley, and then with Derek, and then in 2014 I had that was a big year, both good and bad. That's people remember. I was sitting with Kevin Bradley at the time, and we since 2012 it was actually done Donegal in 2011 with him. And then it was partnership joined him in 2013, so it was a massive 2 years. And he was the benchmark for the 1600 modified class, and we ended up the Dunlop. I was the the Mark II co-driver champion for that, the national event in South. We started off with plans to do the just the border championship, but we had couple of wee indiscretions, you could say, and end up actually doing the full championship then, the national one. And we won, as I say, Donegal, the class in that. So that was in 2014, and then it's just the way it ended. It was so sad, with loss of Ryan, and like they kind of dedicate that championship to, because that last event unfortunately, that I done this year to won the championship. That was the one that Ryan passed lost his life on, so kind of just dedicate that to Ryan, because being with him there that day and the night before it just brought back a lot of memories of that.
A young guy that was again full of development, but such talent as well behind the wheel.
He was
starting to come good, wasn't he? But there was so much fun in him as well too. So.
And with Kevin, I think there was plans for Kevin to step back and it was Ryan's next year. That was been
he was going to start to shine properly.
It was, aye. So that was that. Just like and then as I say, 2010, I was the Group N Northern Ireland champion as well, with the late Cyril Doherty and his Subaru. Although I missed the last round of that, and I was fortunate enough to win that there with him. So 2010, and so that was kind of the big championship one. Obviously, won class awards and and forestry events and Limerick, things like that there. But always the first overall was always seemed to missing from the resume. But that's now ticked off the bucket list.
Yes,
that's with one in there. I suppose the outright one, but that's there now.
Yes,
can't be taken out of you.
Yeah, and what was it that made you want to be a co-driver? What sparked the interest initially?
Well, we living in the countryside, you were always hearing cars and navigation rallies. We're always coming up and down the pasture roads and listening to just everybody chatting, and following, and even on television. Like I was lucky enough to go to spectating Donegal when I was a schoolboy, and just that, and it was just the names from that era. And like I say, Walter Roll, although everybody says Vatanen and Toiven and all, well, I thought Walter Roll was my kind of hero, and as a driver, because he was the kind of the first man to won Monte Carlo 3 years in the trot and 3 different makes of cars. But from a co-driving point of view, there was the two Ronans, as I call them, Morgan and McNamee back there, and you always used to follow them and get the magazines, as it was, of the day, and Motorsport News, and there used to be the Rally Sport back then magazine, and they used to give them, whenever the British Championship was on the go, and they used to give you every driver and every crew used to get a wee spot in the numbers, and you could have put on it was them really that I had a lot of interest in, and following them and all the names, and just got involved. I joined my local motor club, and with another fella, David Craig, who used to rally as well, and we started with him, and just progressed from there. We 12-car navigation rallies, get lost, which was probably, Stanley would say, you still get bloody lost. If it was on the road, you stop at the end, you come out of a stage, are we going right or left? Hold on a minute. So that's always been, you always like doing a recce before to know it. But no, just joined the local motor club and done a couple of navigation rallies, including in the south as well. And it's a great breeding ground. That's learning. You learn every day, and I've been learning since that.
Yeah, because I've been so lucky doing this, that I've been able to speak, to like Terry Harriman, Ronan Morgan, well. Fred Gallagher, all these guys, but they all go back to the night navs and them navigation rallies, plotting them up, that's where you learn your trade, and that is so vital. And young guys now, even Aaron Johnson, that's where he started. That is the road that you need to take. That's the first step in the ladder for anybody.
Oh, that's and Aaron was a fantastic coach at that. But then you have Gordon Noble, unbelievable on maps, and navigation, and even Rory, still out there. I would not claim to be any way in their league at all, and plot and bash, but there's a fellow that I remember, and I'm still friendly with him, Declan Campbell. If you go back and look at all his results and even the navigations and one of them and all, some great co-drivers still involved, but we just hope that and I'd just like to say, what Niall Burns and what Rory Kennedy are actually doing now and schooling the young ones, that's a great, and to just encourage anybody with a passion there to get involved, to go to some of the classes,
Aye.
You know, it's a great, you know, to learn. You'll learn something new. Doesn't matter what. And me too. If I get time to go to one of them, I'd love to.
Yeah, because like that is the whole thing. You know, the day you learn everything is the day you're setting yourself up for a fall, because every day you learn something new, don't you? And that is
Absolutely. Every day you're in a car. Like a driver's briefing, when I first done Donegal, I was fortunate enough to do it. It was 87, and Ronan Morgan was asked at the driver's briefing, like, what could any advice for co-drivers or whatever, and and still sticks with me today. And I would say to any young boy coming on, like, if you ever get a chance to sit in the car, do not turn it down. Do not turn down any opportunities, because you'll learn from there. You know, it's you're always learning something. It doesn't matter if you break down going to the start of the stage, but it's doing the prep before the rally and during it, and trying to make it as easy for yourself as you can to do, and have not stressing. But just even the talent of co-drivers we have now here in the north and the south is unbelievable. Sure, look what William Craig and then Craig and James, it's unbelievable. Like,
and it really is.
It's just the Irish rally, and we're so fortunate.
That's for
at the
sure.
minute.
Aye, and this it's only improving as well, which is with the Motorsport Academy and all these things, it's getting better and better all the time.
It is. I just wish we had one of them in the north of here, because I know the NICC or whatever couldn't afford to run a driver, but even a co-driving school or something, up here, if we can get involved with just to, like there you have John Rowan, and Josh working there now at World Championship level, and with the support of Rally Ireland or Motorsport Ireland, that's a great. I just wish I was 40 years younger.
And what I found as well, these guys with all this knowledge, and I'm sure you're the same yourself, you're very happy if somebody comes over to you and says, I'm not sure about this, or how do you do this? That everybody's willing to share their experiences as well too, which is
that's the great thing about rallying, like in general, and it's not like any other sport, like. They want to kind of football or whatever. They wouldn't tell you any of the tricks of the trade. Like every mechanic, and even in the crews, will lend somebody else a spanner or whatever if they needed something. And it's the same with if you ask somebody a time. Genuine 99% somebody will give you the correct time. The odd time somebody will give you a rogue time or whatever. But and me, I would still ask all the time, like and ask somebody, it's the only way, like, until you actually make a mistake, you'll and we're all fallible, like, and me too. Just getting that dreaded time penalty.
There's always that worry in the back of your head.
There's always that worry.
Have
I done what? And if you don't ask, like, anybody will help you, like, definitely. And I hope that continues in the sport, and there's never any animosity between anybody. I know everybody's fighting for that last 10th of a second, or less now, hundreds of seconds.
And like, Graham, you said you're going in now to your 40th year. Do you still get the same buzz every time you step into a rally car and pull them belts and pull the helmet over your head? No.
Well, yes. yes and no. Yes and no. Times you're in the car thinking, if you're going down 120 miles an hour down the stage, you think, what the hell am I doing on here? You know what I mean? But yes, I would get more nervous getting to the stage, whereas I was mentioned. But you see, once and every co-driver's the same. I have a routine that everybody knows that until you're in the car, you know where your road book is, you know where your notes are, you know where your pens are, you know where your watch is, and it's a process that it's about all your prep work and getting, and I still have the buzz. And once that goes, I did. All those boys get slagged me. They said you were supposed to be retired back, and but then that was after a bottle of Jack Daniels. So,
it was a great idea at the
time. Or a bottle of Jameson's, as Adrian Hetherington would tell.
So Graham maybe lay off the Jameson and not making any more plans to retire for another 40 years at least. This weekend, also on the Sunday, we start the Irish Forestry Championship in Caoimhe, and again, top class entry, looked like fantastic stages going by all the reports. Hopefully the weather's kind to them down there this year. We caught up with the runner-up from last year, and number one on the road this year is Jordan Home. So without further ado, we'll hear from Jordan.
I suppose we were happy. We had a good run, Kevin. No mechanical failures, which is good. So we managed to score good points in every round. We were never out of the top three, but I suppose what we lacked was pace consistently. Kevin, he matched Paddy. He had more ones at the end of the year, which didn't help. But no, fair play to him. He took the one, and we were runner up. But clean sheet this year. So hopefully we'll go again.
This year coming in now, we're starting off Killarney now at the weekend. Would you like to go one better this year?
Yeah, well, I suppose we've got one in the door for a start now, so hopefully it's there. We're looking forward to it, Kevin. They ran a really good rally last year, a well organised event, and it's good to see it's been well supported this year, again. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it was tragic the way it ended last year, but the competitors was full of praise for leading up to the rally. The good stages, good to see new stages, and as well as that, it seems to be a rally run by rally people who understand what you guys are looking for.
No, totally agree with you, Kevin. They've certainly picked good stages, so they have. So no, really looking forward to it. There's definitely everything that you want in a good gravel stage. Really wide and fast and technical at the same time. So no, really looking forward to it.
Excellent. And and the weather this week, touchwood, so far has been good. So that will help to pack in the stages as well too. I don't know what the weather forecast for the weekend is, but it'd be nice if it stayed the way it was at the minute.
Hopefully so. Now, hopefully it'll be a good event for everybody, and everybody gets home safe.
Yeah, that is the one for sure. And then the championship this year, it's looking good. You go from here, you go on to the Moonraker, the Sean Conlon Memorial, and then it rolls on, right through, and I think the finishes up in October. Great to see the Irish Forestry back in good stead again.
No, definitely good to see it. Great to see it, Kevin. A bit quiet the past couple of years with no major sponsor or no title sponsor for the championship, but great to see Sligo Pals back on this year. I know it's great to see for the championship to be well supported again. So hopefully it'll be a good year for everybody involved. Yeah,
having, as you say, that lead sponsor back, that we see what Sligo Pallets do for the border championship. They're great for promoting and getting the word out there. And I think that's reflected in the entry list now at the weekend. Fantastic top 10. The Rally 5 or R5 Rally 2 cars has come on leaps and bounds, haven't they, in this last couple of years?
Yeah, no, totally, Kevin. It's great to see, even outside of Forestry Rally, the R5 car has come on and really brought Irish Rallying on. But no, there's maybe 5 or 6 guys there this weekend that are well capable of winning in R5 machinery.
Yeah. And how do you find yourself adapting to it? Everybody talks about the brakes, it's the one thing that blows everybody's mind the first time they drive them R5 cars. Do you feel that you're getting the best out of it now, or do you think that there's still a wee bit more to come yet?
There's definitely more to come now, I hope. I totally agree with you. Every time you get into it, it's hard to get your head around how good the brakes are and how good the car turns and how good the car works. So no, I can't complain.
Yeah, and you're still in the Fiesta, and probably on gravel, the Fiesta is still a very competitive car.
No, and tarmac as well.
Yeah,
well capable, so it is. We only have to look at Gary Jennings run in Galway to see how capable the car is. And I've no doubt it'll be at the top again whenever we get to Killarney.
Yeah, and you have Adam Platt prepping the car for you, and as you talked about last year, you get through the season, no dramas, no hassles on the mechanical side of things. That gives you good confidence stepping into a car that the car's right below you.
Oh, totally. Yeah, only for Adam. He's done a really good job, and his team done a real good job for us last year. As I said, no mechanical failures, and the car was perfect at the start of every event, and it was perfect going to the next event.
And we know what rallying is like. It's an exciting sport, but it's also an expensive sport as well. It's great to have good sponsors on board there for the likes of yourself too.
Oh, totally. My father's a big sponsor, Premier Car Parts, but TOC and Curly Cars, and good sponsors there behind us. So hopefully we'll do them proud this weekend.
Yeah, because they all help, keep the wheels turning in the way upon it, So. And
it takes all sometimes.
That's for sure. And it's great to go back to Killarney. Is there any other events that that you look forward to, or do you enjoy them all?
I know, I just love getting out and going to rally car, and going to rally car with my father. It's pretty special. We both just getting a spun out. So no, I just really looking forward to Killarney. As I say, it's new stage, and I'm also really looking forward to the Moonraker and Cork Forestry as well. They're really good events down in Cork. So we'll see how we go.
Excellent. And when you talk about spending the time in the car with your father, I've also been watching there on social media. Your father has been driving a Micra back in some of the all track events and all. That's nice for you to be able to return the favour as well, isn't it? So.
Oh yeah, no, it's special now, it definitely is. And we have also the Kirkeston New Year's Day, or the Kirkeston Rally on Saturday as well. So we're also attending, and we're going to that as well.
You're doing the double header.
The double header. We'll try it anyway. See how we go. We're going to the Micra Challenge is starting again. There's 10 or 12 makers going, and so it should be a good race. The likes of Stephen Watford, Raymond Mason, Philip Morrow, and Stanley Orr, and talked about signing up as well. So they mightn't just all be there this weekend, but there's support behind that championship. So fair play to the boys organising it. Should be a good year.
Excellent. And are you driving now at the weekend, or is your dad driving, or?
No, I'm driving him to Kirkeston. He's driving me around Kirkeston.
Excellent.
So and then we're going to McLaren then. So he's driving this time.
Yeah, and the Micra is the car you cut your teeth in as well. So it's a really reeling in the years, isn't it?
Well, it's the same number plate as well. So it's the same number plate as the car we started out on. So no, it's pretty special, So no, it'll be special to get down to Kirkeston, see all the makers for a start, and then make our way to Killarney then Saturday night.
Yeah, and I'm going off track here, but the Micra thing, it's such a great initiative by these guys. As you say, there could be 12 or 13 of them lining up, and it's kind of the old one-make championships of old, that everybody will have the same equipment below them, and it'll be good friendly banter there too, I would say.
That'll be good racing, no doubt. Philip White, he won the class last year, fair play to him, and in his own maker, so he'll be hard to beat, never mind the rest of them. But no, it'll be brilliant racing, and to see a one-make championship, really, it's really good.
And then you've got Stevie Watford, Philip Morrow there, as you say, Stanley Orr, if never he appears out. These were guys who were at the top of their game, could have won anywhere north, south, east, west, and been highly competitive. So to be in amongst them, obviously helps everybody as well, doesn't it?
That brings everybody on, Yeah. I'm sure I can't speak for everybody, but I'm sure for the likes of Philip White or for any of them young guys, to be racing them guys, starting out in their career, if you want to call it that, and it'd be great. It'd be great for them to bring the whole thing on for them.
Excellent.
It'd be great. We get the likes of the Tour de Sperrins or some of the down rally and some of the tarmac events. Never mind the gravel. It'd be a great experience for them, and hopefully it might bring them on a bit more.
A huge thanks to Jordan for keeping us abreast of what's going on, and certainly the Micra Challenge sounds like a bit of crack, and we'll be following up with a few of the competitors on that throughout the season.
Absolutely. Then also, this is next weekend, is I suppose something that could change somebody's life. It's happening in Donegal Town next weekend. It's we probably all know who Stuart Darcy is, a seasoned competitor. His daughter, who was born with cerebral palsy, has the opportunity to go to America for some life-changing surgery. And I caught up with Stuart and his wife Noreen to tell us all about Caoimhe's Fight to Walk. It's a fantastic charity, and it's a lovely story. I think you'll like this one.
Look, I suppose the simplest way to describe it is Caoimhe is 10, well, she just turned 11 actually, just last week. So she's an 11-year-old girl, and she was born premature, and she was 27 weeks when she was born. With that came kind of a number of complications, but the predominant one that came was that she had cerebral palsy. So I suppose it predominantly affects her legs, and it has an adverse effect on her left leg in particular. Right leg is quite strong, but there's issues with tone in her left leg. But I suppose for years we were trying to find a way to push past that and get her to her maximum level of independence. So for the last 18 months, we have been working very intensively with her to, like, from a physical therapy point of view, trying to get her to her maximum independence. And I suppose in that 18 months, she's gone from being a full-time wheelchair user to being able to walk almost independently. She is now walking with one stick. She does use like a kind of walking aid in school and that, but her level of independence has changed dramatically. Like, it has been life-changing. And I suppose now we're at the stage where we've come to the point where there's a couple of things that are regressing or are going to, I suppose, affect her next point of independence. And that biggest thing is her tone. So Quiva has what's called spastic tone or tight tone, and it's in her legs. And what that does, I suppose, long term, what it does is that it means that she would be in pain for life. So as you get older, the tone gets tighter and it gets harder to stretch and move the legs, and it eventually leads to long-term pain, and also leads to like deformities and contractures and different things like that. But pain ultimately is the problem, and it also is going to lead to an issue whereby no matter how fit and how strong she is, the tone will work against her, and the tone will override it all, and she'll have difficulty getting to that next stage. So I suppose in Ireland, the only solution to that is either Botox injections or long-term medications. And for a child with cerebral palsy, I suppose, just to put it in context, because a lot of people wouldn't maybe appreciate or understand because they might have it in their family, but like a lot of people would know older generations that may have Parkinson's or MS or a neurological, like they may have had a stroke. And the type of drug that you're proposing given to a child of that age is the same type of neurological drug that you would be giving somebody with Parkinson's, and you put that in context. So you have, an older person on that kind of level of medication who's, I suppose, at the latter end of their life, and then you have somebody who's at the start of their life and has so much. I mean, it's as a parent, and I don't think any parent would want to, like, and it also has more than, I suppose I always describe it as, if you have a headache and you take a Panadol, does the Panadol actually target that spot in your head that's sore, or does it just give your body a general sense of, ease, that the pain is gone? So that's kind of effectively what those drugs do too. They have a general effect on the body. So she has no issue with her fine motor skills. And we did try one of these drugs last year to kind of, I suppose, satisfy ourselves as well. And she went from being very accurately and able to, using a pencil in school to dropping stuff on the floor. And, it just had an awful lot of adverse effects. And she was on a very low dose. And I suppose at that point then I started to explore what else was out there. So this surgery in America is it's called SDR, so it's selective dorsal rhizotomy. And essentially what it does is your spinal cord has a bunch of nerves, and all those nerves, they feed into the parts of your body, and there's nerves in that spinal cord that feed the tone into your legs. And this surgeon in the US can isolate what nerves are sending tightness, and he can disconnect it essentially. And that's, I suppose, I'm not medically trained, but he can disconnect that tone permanently. So it means then that she doesn't have that tone working against her. So she already has that level of fitness and that ethos about her. She knows that as somebody with cerebral palsy, like, her life will always be, she will always have to stay fit if she wants to stay on her feet. That's just life. Like, I mean, and that's just that unfortunate. But I mean, it's like ourselves. I mean, if you stay fit, you'll be in better shape anyway. But I suppose it's more important for somebody with cerebral palsy, because that's going to be, she can't afford, I suppose, to take a break in it. But now, with this surgery, it means that she'll now have that freedom, I suppose, of the tightness in her body, and it'll mean that she'll be able to walk freer. She'll have no pain. She'll have no tightness. Like, even at the moment, like, she wears orthotics, like a kind of a brace on her leg. And I mean, even putting her leg into them in the morning, like, it's, you just stretch her leg out and there's a tightness and it's sore, like, and nobody wants to, like, nobody wants to have spinal surgery, full stop, but nobody wants to see their child have that
level of pain every day, and
to increase as time goes on, So look, I suppose last year I sent away all her files. So, and it's very invasive, like, you have to get your MRIs and your you have to get all her history notes. It took me quite some time to get them as well, like, because I was going back to 10 years ago, like, I mean, and Anyway, I gathered them all up and I sent them over to America. And Dr. Parks, who's the surgeon that will do the surgery, he is the leading surgeon, spinal surgeon for SDR. And in fact, it's all he does. He specializes in it. And he had a look at her files, and it's not everybody qualifies either. So I wasn't really 100% sure. You know, you're kind of sitting there on the knife's edge and you're thinking, but I hope he accepts us, but maybe he won't, you know. But no, he came back and he strongly recommended that she have it. And for the reasons that we're hoping for, that she'll have freer movement within her legs, she'll have a pain-free life, and she'll have the ability to have a better, you see, even if you just squeeze your hand, you know, create a tightness in your hand, that movement will look almost deformed or strange or funny. Whereas when you relax your hand, you know, it gives that freer sense. So she should be able to walk with a you know, a better walking pattern, you know, which in turn has an effect on the rest of your body. Because I suppose if you're walking on one side, you know, it's affecting your hips and things like that.
Everyone else is out of line.
Absolutely, absolutely. So look, we were delighted to be accepted, and I suppose, because of her age, there's a time frame involved. You know, in an ideal world, we would be in a healthcare system in Ireland where all of this would have been encouraged. We're not, and you know, you have to draw a line there at some point and just say, look, this is where we're at. But she's, I suppose, BHR is going to go through puberty, and the most important thing is that she gets this done as quickly as possible. You don't really have time on your side. You know, you could we basically put ourselves on a cancellation list, and we did that so that we called as soon as we could be. And you know, we're going in 10 or 12 weeks.
19th of May.
Surgery is on the 19th of May. So we fly out on the 15th of May, and she will have her pre-op assessment on the Wednesday, which is the 17th, and then she goes in for the operation on the 19th. And then she stays, the operation itself takes about 5 hours, and then she stays in hospital for about 6 days, and then she comes out, and then she does 3 full weeks of rehab then after, because it's important. That tone is like it's one of those negative, it's like a double negative words. I don't know how to describe it. Like, you need tone, but you don't need tone. You need enough tone that
you need a certain tone.
That's you need a certain amount of tone that you don't end up floppy. But you know, so there'll be a small bit of regression after having the surgery, but that's just strength and conditioning. It's like anything, you know, it'll take a couple of days to get back on her feet, but by the time she leaves America, she should be coming home at the same level that she left with, and then we will then start to see the progression in her head then. Because then she'll be living with less tightness in her, and then that's where you'll start to see her making the progress. And you know, she won't be coming running off the plane. She still has to come home and do all the work, you know.
That's life, but that, you know, it's like any treatment. That's like, you know, no matter what treatment you go for, there is a stage you have to almost get better before you get worse before you can get better. Absolutely. And that's, you know, and that's all the baby steps along the way.
But she's determined, and she loves her newfound freedom. Like she's very, very, like she's so like anybody in a school environment, like she's in 4th class, and anybody would tell you this is her first year, like thriving in a social capacity, because she never had the ability to, I suppose, engage with her peers the way she has had this year. You know, she had to talk to them at eye level. Like, there's a couple of things that, like, you don't realise.
We take for granted.
If you're sitting in your chair and I'm constantly standing up when I'm talking to you, that doesn't happen. Just for your own mental, you know, awareness, not the most positive experiences, but I suppose that's,
you know, at Christmas and that there, you know, she was taking part in the Christmas play, you know, my wee fellow was in there as well, and you know, all those wee things, it's all boosting, boosts your morale, your confidence, you know, and all that just helps lift you up, doesn't it?
It does.
And like, she is such a pleasant, happy child, and you know, it's just great to see her come alive when she goes on the stage. It is.
But I suppose that then led us, I suppose, then to realise that I probably needed a bit of help. Like, I suppose, in the last 18 months, there's an awful lot of unhidden costs, I suppose, that nobody would see, you know. And I mean, we have taken her to a pilot specialist within that time frame, and she has been doing intensive therapies. And I suppose it comes with its own price point. And look, and that's what we all work for in life, and that's what incentivizes you to go to work in the morning. But I suppose this was like a one-off, and this was going to be huge. And because of the time frame involved, it didn't give us much time to kind of even organise ourselves. It was kind of a case of, look, she got accepted. Now we need to get going, because if you're not ready financially, I suppose, to commit to this straight away, go on a waiting list, and you could be waiting up to 18 months. And I suppose she's too far ahead now to have that time frame in terms of waiting until then. So that's, I suppose, where the whole GoFundMe thing came from, really, to this church. And
yeah, that's what I decided to try. There's other people who've done the exact same thing, I suppose, and went for the same operation. So we took a bit of guidance, Irish couples, with the stuff in regards to their children that was the same as previous. So, we said, look, I suppose from my point of view of setting up a GoFundMe page, it wasn't the most simplest. I'd be easier giving out and supporting people over the years, no problem, and maybe going to do it what we're doing for somebody else. I didn't feel as confident, and kind of knocked the confidence out of me a small bit. But look, what people have done and have helped us, and what people have donated has been just overwhelming, to be fair. It's been brilliant, and look, it's all going in the right direction. And I suppose we take the auction now and the raffle, kind of get it over the line as such, but hopefully it will. And look, we're looking forward to it. It's shaping up to be a great night. There's some brilliant prizes as well. So
and I suppose we should be telling people the 25th of February, McCafferty's Bar, Donegal Town. That's where you need to be. It's going to be a night that's going to be talked about for years to come.
I think it will, because there's an awful lot of there's an awful lot of rally heads and that there going and bits and pieces and all, and I'm delighted to some old friends not there and bits and pieces. Some of your favourites as well. The Three McHales is coming, Austin and Aaron and Gareth. So looking forward to that. It'll be good fun, So met them in Galway as well, and they're looking forward to coming as well. So look, it'll be good fun.
And it is kind of taken a rally team that night, not I suppose accidentally on purpose, maybe, I suppose, but there has been a huge amount of support from the rally community. I mean, we have a lot of sponsorships got for different, there's Donegal International, there's the Killarney.
The Killarney Historics, but there are two.
Both give out free entries into their rallies.
Two golden tickets, two hard ones to get entries into. So they'll do well. We have a weekend in Downings, the hotel, for 3 nights over the Donegal International. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night in the Downings Bay from the O'Connors, Kevin, and that there. So all those bits and pieces. We have the 5 people tour mansion of the Museum of Donegal.
The stables,
the stables. I haven't been in myself. Might be tag along. There'll be no room in the helicopter anyway. But the 5 people, like that'd be a great prize as well, because I think 5 people could go together to try and win that.
Yes,
they get a tour of the museum. They get a jaunt in the helicopter around Donegal. You stop them for their lunch. I'm sure that'll probably be in Downings, knowing Donna. It's a personal favourite as well. So, there's some brilliant ones. And then you have like Kevin Eves navigating for the day in the circuit of Kerry. It's brilliant. I think it's $2.5 grand already.
Kevin Eves is, if not the best modified driver in the country, he's one of the top 3 at least. So that'll be some experience for somebody there, won't it?
Yeah, and look, it's nice to have the Donegal connection with him. There's other boys that's all snapping at his heels as well, and it is tight racing there for probably up as far as maybe 8 to 10 of them boys, but just the connection with the Corolla and it being the only 2.5 one. I'm a big touring man myself. Big fan of Kevin Eves, and he's Donegal man. It just all clicked well. How it happened, just happened by accident, by a simple text, and then I related back to him because we were given the entry for the circuit. And I says, "Have we done this as a package? And would you take somebody for a full day? Because it'll be someone that'll be interested in that'll go the full hog on it as well, So,
and maybe somebody's competition will get maybe bid on it and try to see what the secret is.
Yeah. You never know.
There's loads of, we have both an auction and a raffle on the night. So the raffle is already on the prices, or the tickets for the raffle are already on sale through 928 page. And we have we have a Facebook page set up for Caoimhe, and it's Caoimhe's Fight to Walk. We did have some issues during the week, but we have it back up and running now, and we're hoping to get everything advertised the next week on it.
Give it a wee like to try, a like and
Yeah.
share to get it back up to where it was, because it's getting an awful lot of interaction funny, which was great because it was up at nearly 700 likes and followers, so it was brilliant.
Yeah, but look, it'll be back again in time.
Yeah, hopefully.
Without a doubt.
It's we have McCafferty's, we're kind of saying to people, you know, come early. I would say come from 7 because there's going to be a good band on the night as well. The Loads, they have the Loads playing in McCafferty's on the night, so there's going to be a good band, and you know we have to get the auction over before the band starts. So get your seat, I would say, because there's going to be quite
finger food as well. So
there's going to be quite a bit of people, quite a few people coming, I'd say. So it's a busy bar, so it's going to be down the back of the bar where the band can play up by the stage. So and like, look, we'll have loads of help tonight with loads of people. Anybody that wants to bid on an auction is not going to be able to attend. We have phone bidders and people in place to take those on the night. We already have bids in for stuff on the night already. And if you want to, you know, if you can't make it but you want to bid on something, we can put you in touch, and you'll have a dedicated person on the night who'll bid live for you whilst on the phone. You just have to be available to either take the call or set your limits in advance or whatever the case is. But we're contacting people in advance of that, so that's something that has to be pre-arranged. But the raffle tickets, you can buy away at them. There's some lovely prices on them, weekends away and vouchers and all sorts.
And it's not just a rally thing. Like there's, you know, you talk
the raffle thing.
There's topsoil. There's a digger for a day. You know, all those things. And it's great to see. It's the local community all pulling together and beyond as well. You know,
and you'd have to commend everybody. I mean, the local businesses. I suppose we're not used to this ourselves in terms of fundraising. We do try. We do try all ourselves to give back all the time. And I suppose small bit of that we're seeing coming back at us, which is nice. There is earlier on in the day if you're not into nights out, because we're kind of teaming it over the weekend. But we have a family 5K that day as well. It's being hosted in the Neve Breed in our local GAA club. I suppose as a community we wanted to keep we didn't want to be hitting the same people all the time. And so many people came to us looking to do stuff. So we've asked both the school and the local GAA to come together and just do one day. So I think it's plenty for everybody. We live in a small enough community. But there's a great day organised there as well. So it's
fun day as well.
From 11 to 2, they have loads of with 5K starting at 12. They have loads of like field games organised and refreshments and just a bit of fun. And I suppose it'll be a chance for any of the ones in school with Caoimhe to come, and then it'll be a chance for anybody locally that doesn't want it's not into nights out, which is it's fine, and it's just it'll be fun. Like it'll be a nice. Hopefully, it doesn't rain now. But
I suppose we should tell people that's in Ballintraff, which is what 10 mile less south of Donegal town. Even for people coming up on maybe people coming up to make the weekend of it. You know, it's on the way to Donegal town if you're coming from the Sligo side.
And I suppose the easiest way to do is if you search the Neve Breed football pitch. It'd be probably the most. That's where the registration is and everything. So, if you get as far as there, we won't be long putting you on the 5K. And it's a challenging one actually. I walked it last week just with a friend of mine. We mapped it out, so it's a good one. It's got like lots of little hills and stuff. And you know, we have like a prize for the first. You know, there's prizes for the first winners and that sort of stuff as well. Because some of the local GAA boys, like the younger ones, the kind of 16s, kind of that they like to win these, so they like to get a bit of money at the end of it. So we've incentivized them as well. There's a couple of boys who only want to run it if there's a bit of money to be got at the end of it. So no, it'll be a fun it'll be a fun day to be fair. And when McCafferty's that night. And look, we're hoping that'll finish us. We're hoping that'll be that'll be us being hopefully able to switch off then at that point to get back to like look, we're self-employed, to take 5 weeks off work. We've a lot of organising to do ourselves. So we we just need to knuckle down then ourselves because we are going we're flying out on the 15th of May. So we just have.
So have you bid on that prize for Craig Green and Finland?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. We really need
to
give
it to me then. I have to make sure I'm back from there. To go to Finland.
Aye. We have to say Craig Green has been a superstar. He has put up 2 prizes, a test with him and the Hyundai team in Finland. Like that's money can't buy that. And then also a day's testing with him in Ireland and the choice of the Metro, the Sierra, the Focus, the
M3.
the M3. Like again, this is like boyhood dream stuff, you know. Like,
Oh, it is, yeah. And the
really is,
the
you know,
bidding's already started on them as well, you know, to be fair, you know, so.
I think that would be like somebody who's, you know, maybe having a special birthday this year, or who's, you know, like somebody's going to treat themselves, who's big into the motor industry, who's going to say, well, look, you know what, I'm 40 this year and I'm going to do this, or I'm going to try and get this, or, you know, like, and it'd be interesting to see. You'd be excited for the person that would bid on it too.
Of course, yeah, you know, you'd be
It's
looking at
priceless.
yourself.
Like, I mean, I know,
Yeah.
like we have Donegal International, and like the Donegal Motor Club came on board, and they sponsored the Donegal International entry. Like, it's also a golden ticket, but at the same time, it can be bought if you're in on time, and if you're, you know, all those things. But the Craig Breen piece can't be bought.
No.
You know, the Kevin Eves can't be bought.
No.
You know, Dara, Donna Kelly's can't be bought.
No.
These are all like unique items, and they should create, you know, a bit of fun as much as anything, you know, and a bit of momentum on the night.
I think it will, yeah.
And you'd love to see the person then, you know, you'd love to get the feedback from the person later on as to how they got on, like, because it's be great fun for the person that does.
Well,
but no, we've got amazing support. We're overwhelmed. We are, to be honest with you. We're absolutely so grateful, like, because it means we're going to get there as quick as we need to get there, and you know, it's just
fingers crossed. You know, and at the end of it all, this is, you know, life changing, and this is what matters. It's Caoimhe is the objective of all this.
Oh, out of all of it, yeah, without a doubt.
Look, you know, I mean, when you have kids, I mean, I suppose it's your responsibility to make sure that as parent you do whatever is required for them. It would be wrong of us not to push through and make sure this happens for her, because ultimately we'd be letting her down, because she either has, you know, a lifetime ahead of her that's pain-free and giving her the best opportunity, or we're going to hinder her by not having it. So, like, look, from our point of view, it's
a no-brainer.
It is a no-brainer. It is a no-brainer. Yeah, it just has to be done, I suppose. But
lovely to hear from Noreen and Stuart there. You know, I'll try and add the link to the GoFundMe page in the description of this here. You know, if you can in any way, shape or form, if you can donate, you know, on the night, if you can go and buy some of the, you know, bid in some of the auction things or buy some of the tickets, you know, it could make such a difference. And like some of those auction items, oh my goodness, you know, Craig Breen, the trip to Dunners Museum, you know, the run with Kevin Eves, oh my goodness, oh, we can't but dream, you know. Also next weekend we also have the Omagh Spring Rally, which is better known, I suppose, as Fivemiletown to most people. It's just one of those special wee clubman type rallies that just, there's always something very special about that every February. And I caught up with Tommy Nugent from the Omagh Motor Club to sort of give us an overview on what to expect next weekend.
Yeah, the event is based out of Ecclesville Centre, Fulton, same as last year. It's a good sizable car park, good hard standing. That's the start on the Saturday morning. Then we head down to Fivemiletown over the mountain, 4 stages. Brown Hill, Creighton and Rally, Jenkin, Doon, all traditional Fivemiletown stages. Then we're going in for a service back to Ecclesville, and then 4 stages again, fairly simple format. Finished up for 3:30 time or so. Kind of getting in around that 40-kilometre mileage.
Yeah, and like the Ecclesville Centre, you know, it's a great location for a service area, as you mentioned. You know, a hard surface, a good level surface, and all. You know, like, you know, unless it's really, really wet, it's you know, it's ideal for the job. And again, it's in a good sized village, or, you know, small town. It's good to bring rallying to the people.
It is, like, we struggled with Fivemiletown to get somewhere off that size, like, but like, I mean, you're close to the A5. You have anybody travelling from that end of the country, and you've, you know, it is fairly central, yeah. Like, really, you're only 9-10 mile away from where the stages are at. So, no, it's grand. It's 100%.
Yeah, and like, you know, Jenkin, you mentioned there as one of the stages, has to be regarded as one of the best forestry stages in Ireland.
Definitely, like, I mean, the other plus about it is we can get like 5-6 different loops in it. We can get 7.5 mile. We can get 6.8 mile this year we're running. So there's a lot of different angles we can come at it. And I mean, you have flat out sections. You have a lot of technical stuff, and the big thing about it is the surface up there. Like it seems to be the forester up there tells me it's like a limestone for the use for repairing the roads and stuff. So it seems to take the water in well and hold up well, and it really is a special stage. All like the stages this year, I think they're in the best shape they've ever been in. So no, definitely looking forward to it now. And then we're using Brown's Hill, starting the rally in Brown Hill, down the hill, which is a challenge. It's a good crack up the hill as well. But that was 2014. I think we ran it that direction. So I know it's looking to be a good event. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you say that the different wee loops that you can pull out of Jenkins and no matter what way you run it, the surface always seems to hold up really well. Like was it last year you said 3 passes on it, and there was obviously corners cut up a wee bit, but in general there was parts of it as fresh as there was at the start of the day.
Yeah, no, it is a very special stage, definitely. It's definitely the heart of the rally. So no, we're lucky to have it. Yeah. But ideally, like we'd like to run the event later on in the year, but then there's a lot of activity up around that part of the world. Like you have the hen harrier conservation going on, so you can't rally like their nesting seasons from the start of March on. And then as well as that, there's a butterfly reserve on Mullafad, what they call mountain. So there's certain years we can't use that stage, which this year been one of them. But we have to kind of work with nature and the wildlife and forestry service and everything. So, but still, like hopefully we get a good dry spell of weather between now and then, and things keep going the way they're going.
And like Doon is another one of those stages as well. Again, it might not be the longest stage, but there's a bit of driving in it. There's a few wee challenges in it there as well.
Doon was fairly stale there for a few years. Like we were using the same part of the stage, different directions, one thing and another. But then from 2020 on, we cut onto a different loop in it, and from being out setting up there last weekend as well, we drove a different loop again. So probably close to 3 mile, and now we have 3 or 4 different options through it in the next few years again, hopefully. So no, Doon's a good stage. We traditionally finish in Doon or start in Doon some of the two, so we're finishing this year on it.
And then, will you give it a wee flavour of who can we expect to see on the stages? Like there's a strong entry for it as well.
Yeah, well, like at the minute there, just like obviously we have Catherine McCourt. He's back again to try and win Fivemiletown. You have Niall McCullough, former winner. You have Vivian Hamill there. He'll not be too far away. You have Mark Donnelly, among others. 2-wheel drive, like as usual in Fivemiletown, 2-wheel drive will be seriously interesting. Like I mean, at the minute there, you have Adrian Hetherington, you have Shane McGurr, you have Paddy McToll. He was a 2-litre 812 class winner in the past. You have Alan Smith, 2-wheel drive winner from the Bushwhacker. So, and I mean, entries are still open, so you wouldn't know who you could get yet. No, it's sizing up to be a good event. Yeah.
Absolutely. And what time does it let people know? What time do they expect to be leaving the Ecclesville Centre, and what time would first stage kick off?
I think just mightn't have the full time sorted yet, but I think first car's leaving in around 9 o'clock, 9:15, something like that there at the minute. And heading for Fivemiletown direction then.
Excellent.
There's a bit of a programme put together. It'll be for sale, BT Spar, Fivemiletown. It'll be for sale at the Ecclesville headquarters. Our service park will be McKenna Engineering. It'll be in the final instructions, but it's there in New Yard. It's in around just off the A5 there by Sesconore direction. It's about 2.5 mile outside Fulton. So that's for scrutiny. Will be in the Friday night, and then the cars will be parked then in the Ecclesville Centre overnight. The security on there, so we'll start from there then Saturday morning.
Excellent. And we can't go on without mentioning your sponsor for the event, Samsonis. Like there's a photos up there recently of the trophies that's going to be sent over. Like Martin and all that whole gang. They put so much into this rally for you guys as well too, don't they?
Oh, big time, yeah. Like we would really like to try and do more for them maybe in the next few years again, try and make it a bigger event, like because they do put in like whatever we need, whatever we want, they just give it to us. There's no question about it. Like I mean the trophies are unreal. Like if, check the Facebook page there, do you see them? Like they're something special. And like we didn't expect that. We just, he mentioned about making trophies. He's done it in the past, and he's really gone to town this year. But no, as an event sponsor, he's a serious operator. Like, he'd like to push it on again more, which we may do next year and hopefully the year after. So there's no quibble with him. Like, whatever you need, he'll give it to you. Yeah, he's a very, very good sponsor. So, but then I mean, the brand of product that he makes is also A1. Like, so you can't. He's just a professional. Like, if anybody checks him out there, you can see what he's all about. Like,
the quality. Anybody that runs his stuff, like Shane McGurr's ladder, for example, like it's just like it's a work of art, and the gearbox, the suspension, and all that. It's setting the standard, and you can see that the trophies are the same. It's set the standard for everybody else to try and to follow.
Yeah, no, they really are something special. Like, I don't like. If you want to purchase them trophies, I don't know what the settlement would be. Like, it would just, I don't know. The event couldn't do that. Like, so, no, it'll be a nice piece of something for people to have on their mantelpiece. So I think we're going to get a few entries based on that alone, I think.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Kevin, that was a jam-packed show for what's normally a quiet-ish time of year.
I know. Do worry what's ahead in the coming months, but that was episode 4, season 2. I don't know where we're going to go. Please, as I keep saying, like, share, rate, comment, all those things makes a huge difference to us. And part 2 of the Donnellys is out over the weekend. We've also, fingers crossed, another one, pretty special one coming up as well, Connor, isn't it? It's going to be pretty cool, and if that all comes together there too. So, just please keep doing what you're doing, and the numbers you're doing. It's an absolute pleasure to help, to spread these stories. So, thank you once again, and until next time, take care, speak soon, and bye.